Good morning, everybody. We are going to see piecemeal distribution of cash. Friends, in dissolution of firm, we have always assumed that the realization of assets and payment or settlement of liabilities or dues and partners' accounts took place on the same day, that is, the day on which firm dissolved. This assumption is impractical in practice. In practice, the realization or sale of asset is not an easy job. It may take time, even some months, to sell the assets of the firm. So, the realization of asset is part by part. It is a gradual process. So, it is called piecemeal. The creditors of the firm will not sit quiet till all the assets are realized, and they will demand their dues as and when the firm has some funds. Thus, creditors are paid part by part. The distribution of available funds is also gradual, that is, piecemeal. So, friends, now the question arises as to in what order the liabilities of the firm or dues of the firm should be paid off, or we can say how should the assets of the firm used or applied. For knowing this, we should know there is some major category or categorization of our liabilities or dues. When we see this, let us know that we have to divide our liabilities into three parts. One is external liabilities, second is internal liabilities, and third is capital account. Now friends, external liabilities includes preferential liabilities and other liabilities. Friends, when we say preferential liabilities, those liabilities are having preference over all other liabilities in their payment. Now, these preferential liabilities include realization expenses, government dues, and employees' dues. Now, let us see what is realization expenses. Realization expenses are the expenses which are incurred on process of realization. For dissolution, after dissolution, whatever expenditure we are incurring on realization of assets and payment of liabilities, all this process, that are realization expenses, and they should be paid first. They are having preference in payment. Then there are government dues. Now when we say government dues, certain government expenditure is there. Now which expense are related with government? Our income tax, municipal tax, like that, whatever taxes and liabilities are there, which we are going to give to different government authorities, they all come under government dues. They are also preferential, means first we have to pay. Then there are employees dues. Now friends, employees dues means whatever outstanding wages are there, provident funds are there, that we have to pay. So when we say external liabilities, first we have to see preferential liabilities, and that includes realization expenses, government dues and employees dues. Thereafter we have to go towards other liabilities from external liabilities. Now when we say other liabilities, it includes number 1 secured liabilities and number 2 unsecured liability. Now when some liability is secured against something, it is known as secured liability. For example, if we have taken loan from Mr. Z, someone outsider, and we keep charge on our machinery, that time it is secured liability. Means when our firm will dissolve, we have to sell that machinery, and whatever amount will come from that we have to settle Mr. Z's loan. Let us take example. Our machinery was sold for rupees 80,000 after dissolution. Mr. Z's loan was say 60,000. Then from whatever 80,000 we received, from that first of all we have to settle 60,000 rupees loan of Mr. Z, and whatever remains 20,000 that will be used for other dissolution process or settling other liabilities. Like that is in case of secured liabilities. Now there are unsecured liabilities. After settling secured liabilities, if we are having money, from that we can settle unsecured liabilities. And unsecured liabilities means such liabilities on which there is no security, no charge against certain assets. They are known as unsecured liabilities. Let us go towards second part, internal liabilities. Now when we say internal liabilities, it is nothing but partners' loans. Now when we pay off all external liabilities, that is preferential and other, that time if we are having money, then we have to settle whatever loans we have taken from our own partners. Now after settling partners loan, if money remains with us, then we have to go towards partners capitals. We have to settle the capitals of partner. Now what happens if we are having less money as compared with whatever is partners capitals? Then in their profit sharing ratio we give money to them. Sometimes what happens, capitals are not there in profit sharing ratio, then we have to calculate capitals in profit sharing ratio. Whatever is over and above that, first of all pay to that partner. Then we have to, when that capitals come in profit sharing ratio, then we have to pay their capitals in profit sharing ratio. If after settling all the capital some money remains, we have to give it to partners only in their profit sharing ratio. And if certain amount of money is less with us as compared to partners capital, some capital of partner remains unpaid, or that is called as loss on realization. Like that we can tell it. So in this way we have to settle different liabilities or dues of the partner. We have seen like that. Now there is either profit on realization or there is loss on realization. When after settling all external liabilities, internal liabilities and capital accounts of partners, amount remains with the firm, then there is profit on realization, which should be distributed among the partners in profit sharing ratio. On the other hand, if certain amount is less as compared to partners capital with partnership firm, that time entire capital of partner is not repaid. Whatever loss they incur, that is known as loss on realization, and partners have to sustain it. Now let us see next part, that is order of payment. Friends, we have seen liabilities or dues. Now how we pay those dues or liabilities? First payment is always payment of realization expenses. Friends, as a rule, realization expenses paid first. Certain things we have to keep in mind while paying realization expenses. If the amount of realization expense is known on any date, the amount of expense should be deducted from the realization of asset on that date, and then the net amount should be used to pay the liabilities. Now, while making realization of asset, we are knowing what is the amount of realization expense for it. That time, first of all, we have to deduct that amount from whatever amount realized by selling that asset. Then, if the actual expense of realization are not known on the date of realization, then a provision for such expense should be made. It means cash equal to realization expense is set aside. The remaining cash should be used for payment of liability. Now, on date of realization, we are not knowing that this much is the realization expense. Then some cash we have to keep aside that should be more as compared to whatever will be the approximate realization expense. Now, when we know, we have to pay from that provision, and remaining cash we can use for settlement of other liabilities or dues. Now, when the actual expense are less than provision already made, surplus provision, as I said, we can add in our cash and use for making payments. Sometimes what happen, actual expenses are more than provision. Then what we have to do? There is deficit, and that should be deducted from whatever cash we receive and our available balance of cash with us. So these are the provisions about payment of realization expenses of the firm. Let us go towards next part, that is payment of third party liabilities. Now, while paying third party liabilities, certain points should be kept in mind. 4 points are there: secured creditors, preferential creditors, unsecured creditors, and contingent liability. What we have to do is, first we will see about secured creditors. Now, secured creditors means they are creditors which are secured against certain security, certain asset we can say. The secured creditors should be paid first out of amount realized from the securities given. If the amount realized from securities is more than liability, then excess cash should be used for payment of unsecured creditor. If amount of securities is less than liability, the balance due is considered as unsecured creditor and paid along with other unsecured creditors. See example of secured creditors. The firm has taken loan from Mr. Amar, rupees 50,000, and it is secured against furniture which is having value of 1 lakh in the balance sheet of that particular firm. Now what we have to do is, on realization, if 60,000 rupees of that furniture comes, from that we have to settle first that 50,000 loan, remaining 10,000 we can use for paying unsecured creditors. On the other hand, if we sell that furniture, we receive 45,000 and now Amar's loan is rupees 50,000. So that 5,000 difference, 50 minus 45, should be considered as unsecured creditor and paid with unsecured creditors only. Only that whatever 45,000 received, we have to pay first to Mr. Amar. Like that happens in case of secured creditors. Let us go towards next, that is preferential creditors. After payment of secured creditors, the preferential creditors we have to pay. Now when we say the term preferential creditors, it includes taxes and which should be paid to the government. Then let us go towards unsecured creditors. Now after paying preferential creditors, we have to pay unsecured creditors. Now unsecured creditors means what? The creditors for whom we have not provided any security, they are called unsecured creditors. Let us go towards contingent liability. If there is any contingent liability, cash equal to that particular liability should be set aside before making payment to other claimants. If the contingent liability does not mature or does not arise in actual, that time what we have to do is cash set aside, we can say as surplus, which can be used to make payment of some other liability. If the contingent liability is more than amount set aside, then the balance of liability should be paid out of the realization on that particular date. Let us see what happened. Now, there is one contingent liability, one court case is pending regarding compensation to employee. Let us say it is 1 lakh rupees as our assumption. Then we have to set aside rupees 1 lakh as a contingent liability. If court case decision comes from that worker's side, we have to pay rupees 90,000 as compensation. Already we have kept aside 1 lakh, from that 90,000 we can use, remaining 10,000 we can use for paying other liabilities. Now, if 1 lakh are set aside and court decision says we have to pay 1 lakh 10,000, then 1 lakh we have set aside provided we can pay, and take 10,000 from next realization which we receive, from that we can pay. Like this happens in case of contingent liabilities. Let us go towards third payment, that is payment of partners' loans. Friends, now after paying third party liabilities, we have to go towards payment of partners on account of their loans. If cash available is not sufficient, we have to pay partners' loans proportionately. Let us see. If we are having cash of 2 lakh rupees and we are having two partners X and Y, Mr. X and Y are equal partners. 1 lakh, 1 lakh, or 1 lakh 50,000, 1 lakh 50,000, like that loans we have taken, its total is also 2 lakh. Then we can pay that 2 lakh directly to them. But if we are having with us 1 lakh 50,000 rupees from realization, loan from Mr. X is 1 lakh 50,000, Mr. Y is also 1 lakh 50,000. Then what we have to do? We have to calculate proportion. Now 1 lakh 50, 1 lakh 50, that is 1:1. And we are having 1 lakh 50,000 rupees divided by 2, that is 1:1. So it is 75. So from 1 lakh 50 we pay 75,000 to X. From 1 lakh 50 we will pay 75,000 to Y. In another example, if we are having with us rupees 75,000 on realization, loan of X is 1 lakh, Y is 50,000. What we will do? Calculate proportion. 51 is a 50, 52 is a 100. So 2:1, X is to Y. What we will do? From 75,000, 2 plus 1, 3. 75,000 divided by 3, 25,000. 25 2 is a 50, 25 1 is a 25. So for X having 1 lakh loan, we will pay 50,000. For Y having 50,000 loan, we will pay 25,000. Like proportionately we can pay. Let us go towards fourth payment, that is nothing but payment of contingent liability provided. After payment of partner's loan, provision should be made for a contingent liability. Means whatever contingent liability we have paid as a third party liability, after that sum remains, for that we have to make provision for that contingent liability Then let us go towards fifth part, that is payment of partners' capital. Now friends, after payment of all liabilities, partners' capital should be paid. Cash should be distributed among the partners in such a way the balance unpaid on capital account should be in profit sharing ratio. Now, when whatever is capital of partners, that much amount or more that amount is available, no problem. But if partners capital total is 3 lakh and I am having with us on realization rupees 2 lakh 50,000, then whatever 50,000 difference is there, or we can say deficit is there, that deficit should be shared by partners in profit sharing ratio. For that purpose, whatever we distribute, we have to distribute in profit sharing ratio. That is very much important. Let us go towards next part, distribution of cash among the partner. Friends, as stated, after settlement of external and internal liabilities, the cash available on realization of assets should be distributed among the partners to settle their capital balances. Here, we have to decide in what order and in what proportion payment should be made to the partners on their capital accounts. Should the cash be distributed in the ratio of capital to the partners? The distribution should be made in such a manner that the unpaid amount after distribution of all realizations is in profit sharing ratio. The balance left unpaid in capital accounts is loss on realization and must be in profit sharing ratio. Friends, the problem arises when the capital balance of partners are not in ratio in which they share profits and losses. That time, the available cash cannot be distributed among the partners in profit sharing ratio, because if it is done, the amount left aside, that is loss, will not be paid in profit sharing ratio. The proceeds cannot be distributed in profit sharing ratio, because if it is done so, then the balance left unpaid, that is loss, will be also in capital ratio. Therefore, there should be profit sharing ratio used for this purpose of distribution. Now, for distribution of cash among the partners, first of all, we have to prepare certain statements. Two statements are prepared. One statement is known as statement of excess capital, and one is statement showing piecemeal distribution of cash while solving the problem of this piecemeal distribution of cash. Now let us see very important thing. First statement, that is proportionate capital method, excess capital method, highest relative capital method, or quotient method. This is used, or this statement is prepared for showing how to pay partners' dues, how to pay partners' capitals in profit sharing ratio. If they are not in profit sharing ratio, we bring them in profit sharing ratio. Whatever excess is there of some partner, that is paid first, that should be paid first, and whatever remains, that thereafter we have to pay in profit sharing ratio. So such question of remaining loss on realization will always come in profit sharing ratio. Now let us see this, what is proportionate capital method. Under this method, the excess capital contribution by partners with reference to their profit sharing ratio is determined. What we have to do is, the proceeds of assets realized cannot be distributed in profit sharing ratio if capital balances are not in profit sharing ratio. In order to bring that capital in profit sharing ratio, we have to see the excess capital contributed by partner over and above his or her proportionate capital with reference to their share of profit. Now, let us see A and B are two partners. Profit sharing ratio is 3:2 and they are having capital 45,000 and 40,000. Now, here 3:2 is ratio. We will divide 45,000 of A by 3, so it will come 15,000. B's 40,000 divided by 2, it will come 20,000. Now we will take less of it. Less of it is 15. So A's capital should be 15 3s are 45,000. Okay. B's capital should be, for profit sharing ratio, 15 2s are 30. But it is 40,000. Then what we have to do? Excess capital of B rupees 10,000 we have to pay off first. Then the available cash remaining should be paid to A and B, rupees 45,000 and rupees 30,000 in their profit sharing ratio. Capital which we consider for this proportionate or excess capital method or repayment includes general reserve, profit and loss account balance. Such items we have to add in partners' capitals in their respective profit sharing ratios. Now friends, with this we have seen what is meant by piecemeal distribution of cash. Then we have also seen different liabilities or dues, in which order we have to pay that. Then how we have to distribute cash when there is capital of partners in profit sharing ratio and capital of partners in not profit sharing ratio, and preparation of excess capital method or statement showing excess capital when that we have to prepare. Let us stop here. Thank you.